subject of governance and politics. We're talking about the sustainable dimension in nation building. Oluwafemi Oyewumi is his name. He's passionate about governance, he's passionate about leadership and service. Welcome once again, Femi. It's great to have you here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's get right into it.
Okay.
What is your perspective with regards to the young population of Nigeria, the youth, in the place of politics and sustainable leadership communication?
Thank you very much. I think that the youth have been marginalized. I share that view. Because
the youth have been marginalized?
Yes. In the place.
Hold on. You see, I'm sorry, but I do not agree with you.
Okay.
How can the youths be marginalized? They have the voting power. You can see how many we are as young people. Where are we voting? We are voting in reality entertainment shows. Great number of young people do not have PVCs. They talk about governance. They talk about politics. They talk about responsibility, but we're not ready to rise up to the occasion. So why do you say they're marginal? Listen, nobody will give you power.
Thank you. I share that opinion with you. On his side. But I will let you know that what you are sharing is very critical. And an average Nigerian does not know that truth.
Does not know the truth?
Yes. They don't know the power they have. And the reason why I said they have been marginalized is, if you look at the population of the youth, that constitutes 67% of the registered voters. So meaning that we have the power to even choose our own leader. But they have been, they have been sitting in a place of ignorance. And why? If you look at some indices that is affecting us in terms of poverty. If you take poverty for an example, the same people that are talking about are waiting for the age generation to give them, so to say, how will I put it now, a compensation for them. They have the knowledge of the kind of how they are. Take over that same position I'm talking about, and that's marginalized. And how do you need to get an adequate knowledge and train this youth to refocus, because I've been in place of what can I get for myself. If you talk youth, no one thinks about what can I do for Nigeria. They always think about what can Nigeria do for me. And if we still sit in the place of what can Nigeria do for me, you are not going to move forward after 60 years. And that's why I'm saying there is a need for awareness of the truth you've just shared. If an average Nigerian knows the truth you just shared now, we are going to be in a better place, because they will be stirred up to take over. And like you said, no one is going to give you power. In fact, we have not shown the 8th generation that we are responsible enough to be in power.
Which brings us to the subject matter. In every political campaign, you find teeming youths. We form the large bulk of the population. We are the ones supporting. We are the ones in the rallies. But when it comes to active engagement and participation, I see Twitter warriors. I see social media warriors supporting one candidate against the other. But these are the same persons when someone from amongst us comes out and says he wants to run. In the last election, a musician, I would hold back his name. In fact, this is the agenda, and we don't throw small punches. Banky W is his name, Bankole Wellington. He decided to run for elective office. They mocked him. They joked. They made a jest of him. The man articulated his vision and his direction. They told him to go and sit down. If those same set of people will not vote, will not participate in who becomes their leader, is it not right to say that the leaders we're experiencing and the leaders we have is the leaders we deserve?
So I would like to go a bit into details of that, because, I was actively part of that election. The truth you need to understand is that the same set of people who asked Banky W to go and sit down didn't speak through their own mouth. They used the same youth against him. Tell me, what has he done in public place? We only know him for music, and they told him, go and focus on your music. What has he done in the public place? So when you are going into such seat, there's a need for you to have to have done something that people can see, what people can touch on. If you look at the constituency that it came from, and let's break it down a bit. He has spent few times in that place. He came about 6 months or 8 months down the line to convince his own people that he wants to go for that position.
How many of the aged politicians have actually done something for their people before that time?
So unfortunately, those people that you are saying they have not done anything,
yes.
The perception of the young is about what they can get into their pocket. And that's why I'm saying that character, honesty is one of the deficiencies we have among the youth. The youth you are referring to are not the youth that wants to take over and put the interest of Nigeria at heart. These aged people have bought their loyalty over. So when you are saying that, what have they done? What they have done is put money in the pocket of those young people to go against the people that really want to change the narrative.
All right. We must be careful not to generalize about young people because we have a significant amount of young persons who are doing something different. But we are talking about the participation that will bring forth sustainable nation building. Let's talk about that in politics. What must young people do? Now, I do not agree about the marginalization concept because, you see, there are certain things that we have deliberately empowered as young people in this nation. There are certain things that we've given excuses for repeatedly. Look, I will build road. I will give you water. There's a state in the Southwest. It's a fantastic state. It's a construction site. And right now, movement is challenging for the citizenry. But it's a good one in the sense that when the construction is all over, we believe that things will be better. Are we holding our leaders accountable? Are we asking the question? Because oftentimes when people want to ask a question, somebody says, keep quiet. Why are you asking that question? And then the people that used to ask questions once upon a time, they get to a place of influence, of relevance, of power, and they are quiet. And somebody says that when you are eating, you don't talk.
Okay. Let me approach it this way, and I'm going to take a practical step. I visited my local government. I visited the chairman. I requested an appointment to see him because he didn't know me from anywhere, so to say. Somehow, I was granted the audience to see him. And when I went into that meeting, I was there with one of the secretary, and he said, "What is the purpose of coming to visit me today?" I said, "I'm one of the members of this family." So I put my local government as a family. And I said, "This is what you wrote in your manifesto that you are going to do." And that was towards the end of his tenure. I said, "This is what you said you are going to do." And I accounted things that he promised to do and did not deliver. You know what he said to me? He said, "Get out of my office." As I was on my way out of the office, because it's a very big office, as I was getting to the door, he asked the secretary to call me back. I wanted to find out who I am, and then start engaging me, some of the challenges he faced, why they could not deliver on that. Imagine that you have an average youth who is holding their, I'm not even saying going to federal level or national level. Stay in your community and find out, and hold those people accountable. There is one initiative I've celebrated so much. We call it Tracker. I can say it on this. We call it Tracker. I can say it on this. Yes, Tracker. Yes. What Tracker is doing is going into each of the states and comparing what the government of that are going to do and showing the people what have been done. Did you know what that is going to do for us? The people who have been saddled on this project, if they don't deliver, they pocket the money and bring it to campaign. They make the election expensive. That means that the entrance into governance was very difficult. But if you begin to hold them accountable and spend the right money into that project, then we are going to have a fair playing ground when we go into elections.
Femi, I need to ask you a very interesting question. And this question has to do with we're still talking about youth participation in politics for sustainable nation building. We have a lot of persons in the place of governance in a nation like Nigeria that have no shame. They are not ashamed. A man is caught, goes to court, is convicted, and goes to jail. People make an issue that it was because there's a statement in our nation that everybody is a thief. It is the person that was caught that is the actual thief. So, it's a blanket statement that people make all the time, and people still tell young people, guy, when you get there, collect your share. This national cake you are sharing, we've been sharing national cake forever. And it seems that right now there is no cake. In fact, there's no flour.
True.
There's no flour. So there is a significant crisis. You find it in the place of unemployment. You find it in the place of intimidation by legal scenarios or law enforcement agencies. You find it, the youth are not advocating for the right things that will strengthen sustainable nation development. What should they do? Because listen, politics is about governance. The business of politics is too important to be left to politicians.
I agree with you.
Let me say something, because I need you to articulate this and give us solutions and your recommendations. In the United States of America, a great number of the persons in the National Assembly, let's use the National Assembly so everybody can understand, in the Senate and the House of Rep, they are professionals, businessmen, lawyers, and everything. In Nigeria, we're working, we're getting better. The young people are not aspiring to get into those law offices from even in the local government, even in the State House of Assemblies. So they're not, everybody wants to go for the high, hanging fruit. Why don't we start small? Why don't we start to say councillor? In fact, why don't we start to put ourselves together and use our numbers? We're waiting, it seems that the young people in Nigeria are waiting for a magic wand, for something remarkable to happen, one Martin Luther King or Mahatma Gandhi to show up. And then when that person shows up, because the people that have put themselves forward, we told them to go and sit down. I mean, he's advocating for things to change in Nigeria, and everybody says that when he's tired, he will sit down. What should we do right? And what are we doing wrong? And you know that we do not have time. The youth that we're about today, in 15 years' time, they will no longer be youth.
Absolutely.
In fact, globally, the age of youth is accelerated. So what should we do?
First, I'm going to share part of the things I'm doing, which I think is working. I've spent about 5 years in preaching the same message of awareness of young people getting into governance. You need to start from home.
You need to start from home?
Yes, you need to start from home. See, character is very important.
Wait, define home. Because you know that, let me tell you why I need you to define home. You were born in Lagos. You grew all your life in Lagos. But you are still not a citizen of Lagos State. And when certain things want to happen, I'm just using Lagos as an example.
Yes, I'm with you.
Tell you to go home. You lived all your life in Lagos. Why is, in the nation called Rwanda, they've removed tribes.
Yeah.
For the young people, when we engage each other, we still ask each other, what state are you from? Isn't that a stumbling block?
Yes, it's a big issue. And you know what? The people, the age group who has been trained with that same system does not understand the value system of how that has become a problem to us.
Are you saying that we're not teaching and educating and communicating enough? Because the subject of education keeps repeating itself.
Because the truth is that if you take an average Nigerian youth and tell him what does it take to be a councillor, he doesn't have a clue. When you ask an average youth to say that, what are the deliverables, what are the qualities or job description of a chairman of a local government? You are
using big English now. Deliverables, qualities. You need to simplify. The guy has not eaten. He's in secondary school. He's not sure he's going to make SS3. How can you talk about governance and politics?
So this is how
we have weaponized poverty in this nation.
And that's the truth.
True or false?
Because the people discovered... True.
We have weaponized...
Yes, I agree with you. Okay. Part of the strategy is when people don't have what to eat, it's difficult for them to think about leadership. What do we need to start doing differently? I say, come to home. Oh, what is home for me? See, home is where your people can see what you are impacting them. Let's separate the place of state. If I live in a community and the community cannot have an impact of who I am or influence in certain ways, then I'm not doing anything. Leadership starts from that same community. You must be able to see the impact. If you want to have the touch of government, it should start from me as a leader. If I see myself as a leader in that community, meaning that I'm interested in that education system. So when there is no power in our community, I'm more interested to say that we are not going to sleep until the PSCN fix that. And when people begin to see that, I'm teaching other people to say, you can't sit back and allow these things to just work this way and see the abnormality going on. You need to do something. When we begin to do that, imagine, let me give you, we have 774 local governments.
Correct.
If you find 774 people with character, integrity, transparency, accountability, we are going to take over all the local governments in Nigeria. That's the strategy. When you find that local government, we find everybody in that local government. Same way we populate the National Assembly, the House of Assembly, that people, it's not juicy, so to say, because people don't put their eyes. Everybody wants to be a governor. Everybody wants to be the president. The same people you are referring to, if they go back home and show people what they can do, there is a CV to tie back to them. This is how you have developed us. This is how you have impacted our life from that grassroots. Soon enough. And the truth is that the change you are asking for, not wake up tomorrow to find that change. It is a process. It's going to take time. It's going to take collaboration of the people in there. I have more than 200 followers that are sold out to this business I've been selling, cut across different states. You just need to give us a little more time to see that impact. Because when you say that everybody is corrupt, we don't have that same language. I'm not going to get into power and begin to behave like them. Because the way I've been brought up, and I'm saying, in terms of my exposure, in terms of the development I've received, I cannot trade my name for money. And there are people like that in this same country who are going to say no.
Mr. Yomi, I like your mouth is dancing. You are speaking, but you see, let's be. They say let's be realistic. Let's talk. We're talking about redefining youth participation. Is it not in this nation we saw some people? They spoke. They told us what we were meant to do. They told us what they would do when they got there. They got there, and we did not recognize them. Why did we not recognize them? Because money came into the existence of their configuration, and we lost them.
Unfortunately, when you look at that fraction of people who are privileged, take for an example, an average parliament in Nigeria currently is age 53.
Parliamentarian?
Yeah, parliamentarian is age 53. These are people that are built in the same system. How did they get there? Look at the process they passed through in getting there. You need to define some of the processes that made these people. If I have spent 70 million to settle pocket, and when I get there and I'm getting the constituency fee, don't you think I'm going to keep part of the money?
I don't know. Maybe when you
exactly what I'm saying. So if you have people who will say no to settle those systems, if you build a structure and you look at our legal framework to say, let there be transparency in our electoral processes. I've given you one of the ideas that I'm using now to monitor, because there is need for monitoring. You don't wait till when the election is coming. You need to start monitoring. How did they gather those money that they are using in election? You need to monitor those things. If you can, put things together, monitor them, show transparency in how they are content. In fact, I was speaking with some people that there's a need for us to have the youth national parliamentaries. Because the policies... National parliamentary.
Hold on, Mr. You were in, you went to university where there was student union government. Have you not seen the dramedy of student unionism? The things that are happening. Some persons have opined that even some youth will be made much worse when they get into places.
I do not agree with that.
You don't agree
so
with
when
that?
he's referring to youth, what kind of youth is he referring to? Because they are the same age. In fact, when you go to the age group, is it all the that there are still people of integrity? I've met some of them. I have some of them as role model. So. I have some of them as a role model that stand by their integrity in this same country.
Okay. There is no, in the Nigerian constitution, we're talking about redefining youth participation. In the Nigerian constitution, there is no independent candidate. If you're going to run in an election, you need to belong to a political party. We have two major political parties in Nigeria. People have opined, they've said different things about them. And, a recent election was very dramatic. 4 years before, they were on different sides, and they spoke about each other. 4 years later, they were on different sides, and, someone won. What about the political party structure? Because, when you go into a political party, they tell you, how old are you? Say 20. You're a young man. 22, you're a young man. Why don't you wait for like 15 years? Oh, yeah, do this, carry that. And you walk through the system, paying your dues. But the question is, will you ever be given a chance? So, when are we going to celebrate a 40-year-old with integrity and character that know. Now, some states in Nigeria, they already have 35, some states in Nigeria, they have those young people who are redefining. I know a commissioner of finance, in the Southwest, he's doing remarkable things. He's very young. But what is the population? If those who are exceptional they are few. We have too many few good men and women. What difference will they make of the youth participation? Redefining it, what difference will they make?
So let me approach it this way. When you talk about the two major political parties,
yes.
let's go back a bit to 2019. I was actively involved in that election. One of the failures of the new vibrant, young, dynamic leaders that we are hoping for failed to collaborate.
Failed to collaborate.
Collaboration is the new competition if we want to thrive. I've always said this to people around me. You can't go to fight a man who has built up let me call it, he has built up a kingdom for 60 years, and you want to show up in six days to pull down the work of 60 years. You are a joker. One of the things, if we have collaborated those different, you see, to add different people from different spheres of life, it brings creativity, it brings diversity that can help us truly tackle those who are sitting in there. We don't need to go to those two major big parties for us to actually win them. We just need people who can come together with the same goal. Because it seems they have their own agenda for Nigeria, and they refuse to see other people in that same agenda. If we continue, come 2023, we will not be able to stand against those people. What do we need to do differently? We need to come together. We need to lay aside our differences. Like you said, the state, the tribal, discrimination is so much. You want to go into the gender part, only 27 females are in the parliamentary as we speak. 27 of them in over 400 and something people seated there. Again, you need to begin to think, do we have women in different spheres or in other sectors that are doing well, that can help us in changing the narratives of what we have in now? We need to, yes, so we need to get those people together. We need to onboard those people together for us to fight against those people. If we really need to make a change.
Femi, thank you. We're in the year 2020, and it's been a most remarkable year. In 3 years' time, there will be another general election in Nigeria. When should the youth start activating the engagement that they need to start activating?
My answer is now.
Now as in now?
Now. You need to start now. I mean, if you are listening to me, first I want to ask you, do you know the councillor of your constituency? Do you know the senator by name? I'm not even saying, do you know who they are? We have committed, it's a very... you're
asking high things. Why don't you ask, do you have a PVC?
Exactly. Because that's the starting point. And then when you have that voter's card, willing to go out. In the last general election, I saw women aged about 65 and 70. During the election, after they finished voting, they sat down there. He said, Mama, go home. He said, no, I'm not going home. I was told that I must not go until my vote is counted. And you find young, educated people and sitting back at home, and when you ask them, why you know how to vote? He said, my vote doesn't count. That is ignorance. Part of the awareness we need to give to our people is that your vote really counts.
Ignorance is too expensive a price
yes,
to pay.
We have 67 people who are 67% who are registered voters in this same cadre of youth we are talking about. If all of us have the right knowledge that this vote really counts, the 8 people have no other means than to join into the force. Whoever we are saying needs to be in power in whatever levels of government, they will win the election.
Femi, you have spoken in a very interesting and provocative manner. I firmly believe that those who are watching us, wherever you are, you're learning one or two things and you're being provoked in the depth of you. This is still the agenda. And we want to say that, displayed on the screens at a certain point in time will be the social media handles of the agenda. We need you to be part of this conversation. We need you to take this conversation into of execution. Talk. The agenda is not just about talk. You can hear repeatedly Femi is saying that I am doing something, I am involved, I am making something happen. A lot of people are going to wake up in 2022 and say, oh yeah, let's start advocacy. Your advocacy is late. Your advocacy is late. A lot of people can talk right now, but they choose not to talk. There is a time when silence is golden. There's a time where silence is criminal. There's a time where silence is because your generation that is coming after you will ask you, when this was happening, what did you say? When this was happening, what did you do? So these are fundamentals that we need to talk about because the youth, we have a lot of work to do.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
And education, like you mentioned, is very important because ignorance, if the people do not know, you know, wherever you are, you need to stop collecting bags of rice, face cap, T-shirt, gallons of granite and palm oil. For how long will you collect? It is not going to sustain you for the next 4 years.
Absolutely.
It's not going to be work for you for the next 4 years. We need to also subject our leaders to debate. Some leaders avoid debate.
Because they don't have any vision for us. There is no plan for us.
But some that avoid debate, they end up winning the election.
Again, you need to go back to the process of winning that election. You need to go back and check the process of getting into power. I mean, it's uncalled for in a nation you have more than 1,000 professors, and you are finding someone who is assuming a position of a governor without a school cert, when the Constitution says that the minimum requirement is a school cert.
Femi Oyewumi, our distinguished viewers, wherever you are in the world and in the nation Nigeria, we say thank you. It has been a very sobering, serious, determined, impactful conversation I have with my panelists here. We're going to be handing over back to the coordinators of this session, the MCs, for the continuation of this engagement. But wherever you are, please note, time is of the essence, and this nation needs you and I. Get off your feet, get off your seat from the place of complaining and do something. My name remains Abiodun Famujuro. It has been a great delight being with you today. Thank you.
It is time for less of talk and more of action. That was a very insightful one. You know, charity begins at home. You determine the kind of leaders you have. Thank you very much, Abiodun Famujuro.
And thank you so much, Femi Oyewumi. The conversation continues online. Follow